friends. Happy Monday. I'm here live doing my monthly live with you guys out and about and shopping, which every time is slightly awkward, and I kind of have to get over the fact that people are going to stare at me while I talk into my phone at the store, but that's okay. Tonight I am at Home Depot, and I'm looking for some paint colors for our next project that's coming up. It's going to be a makeover on our shed into my home office. And so I wanted to talk through with you guys kind of my process for shopping for paint, how I start, how I look through the different colors and maybe decide on what samples I'm going to purchase and that kind of thing. So tonight, again, I'm shopping for paint for my up-and-coming shed turned into home office in the backyard. And I'm going for kind of a glamorous southern porch coastal feel. So I'm going to paint the ceiling in a pale blue to mimic that haint blue porch ceiling that you see in the South a lot. And so tonight I'm going to look for a creamy white for the walls and then a pale blue for the ceilings. And my starting point, which anytime I'm shopping for paint, I always have a starting point. And that's primarily from an inspiration picture, something that I've seen that I really like the tone of that paint. And then I will either use my Behr Color Match app or something like that to kind of get an idea for a paint color that might be similar to what I'm seeing in my inspiration. So I use that as my starting point, and then from there I kind of find similar colors and find tones of colors in that same spectrum, I guess. And once you get them next to each other, you can kind of identify the undertones in them. So tonight, for the pale blue I'm looking for the ceiling in the shed, I'm going to start with the paint we actually used in our guest bathroom, which is Bayberry Frost by Behr. So I've already identified where the paint chip is before I went live to make that a little bit easier. So I'm going to flip this around. I'm going to take us over and grab that chip and then talk about from there how I go through kind of finding different colors I want to consider and deciding on which ones I buy as samples. So let me switch this around. Okay, so I'm here obviously in the paint section at Home Depot. Bayberry Frost, which is this one here, is the one we've used in our guest bathroom. That's the one I've decided to use as my starting point. Now, I have this forever argument going on with my good friend about whether or not the paint in our guest bathroom is blue or green. And I've always advocated that it's blue, but right in this moment, I have to give Kayleen credit and say it's probably green. I'll admit. But in the bathroom, I think it looks blue. Anyway, so this is what we have in our bathroom. That was what I was going to use as my starting point. But I definitely think that's too green for what I'm going in the office for a ceiling. So I do like this one. So I'll grab this one as kind of a starting. Pale blue. Again, I'm going for that kind of haint blue southern porch. Hi, Chris and Chloe and Andrew. That haint blue southern porch ceiling in there. And so I'll start with this one. And then what I typically do is I kind of go around and look at the other colors and kind of compare. Okay, so this one is really blue compared to these. And all of these look pretty gray and green in person, so I probably won't go with any of those. Again, this is the one that I chose right here. Let's see. Sorry, I dropped my card, so I'm going to let you see while I bend down. Okay, so this one is kind of neat. I like this one. Okay, compared to this, it's very much more pale and very much more kind of turquoisey, but I like that. So that could be a game or a contender. Let's see, what else do we have here? Okay, I'm gonna go over here to the blue section. Make my way, here we go. Okay, so again, I kind of bring the two that I found. So see, now that you get these next to like blues and greens, this one looks much more even like purple, right? So I definitely kind of bring the chips around, and then once you get a couple together that you like, you can see the undertones in them. Hi, Kimberly. Let's see. Hi, Robin. Which ones do I like? I definitely want pale, and I'm gonna do some greens in there. I kind of want one that's more of like a blue undertone. I like these. See how they compare to the other two that I grabbed? So you can see this one looks much more minty when you get it against the grays. So this is kind of the process I go through. And I'll be honest, when I'm picking a color, I probably spend, 20 minutes looking at paint chips, comparing them all to each other, figuring out which ones have the undertone that I want. Like I said, see, this one looks a little purple. This one looks a little maybe green. This one looks more blue, more gray. So these are all really pale blues, but you can see they all have different undertones. And while they look like a certain color here, it's really important that you take them home and paint them on the walls you're actually going to paint, because that tone will change. I mean, this is fluorescent lighting. This isn't necessarily daylight in here, so they're all going to look different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab 3 or 4, and then I'm actually going to take the paint chips home, and I'm going to put them on the wall that I'm going to paint, which is actually the ceiling in that shed, and see which one I like, which 3 or so I like the most there. And then from there, I'll actually come in and buy samples. See, these look so green compared to these blue, pale blue colors. So I really have to decide what I want my undertones to be. And, you know, I am maybe not ready to buy paint yet because I haven't gotten all the furnishings for the room. And that too will just help me decide what undertones I want to go to. If I get a rug or something like that where I really want to pull colors from it, I'll change my mind about what colors I want. These look a little more purple now, so. Anyway, this is my process. I am going to buy a white, and look at, these all look white, right? I mean, they're whites, but this one is like got a huge green undertone. Hi, Sam. And so I want to get, I think, like a warmer, almost creamy white for the shed, because I want it to be a warm color in there. We always paint the really bright, pure white in our spaces, and in this space, I really want it to feel warmer. So I'm going to scope out and grab a couple of these whites to take home with me and see how they look in this space, especially with the blue ceiling. So yeah, so I'll probably spend another, I'm good, Sam. Thank you for coming on. I'm just going to grab a couple more chips, and then I'm going to make my way home, and I'm going to hang them on the ceiling in that shed to decide which ones out of the 6 or 8 I take home. I want to get samples of, and I'll probably buy 3 samples in the long run. So anyway, I know that was kind of a short video tonight, but I just wanted to come on. I know it's a holiday, so people are busy, and share one of my little tips with you, how I shop for paint. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and keep your eye on the blog for upcoming details on the shed project, because it's going to be a big one coming probably in July, and I'm so excited to share all the details with you. So if you haven't visited the blog, there's a link in my profile. You can check out all my posts and who Chris and I are and what we do, and we're passionate about teaching people simple ways to update their home that are affordable and yet give you a home that you absolutely love and want to spend time in and share with others. So that's our passion, and I hope you guys get something out of all the work we're putting into the blog, because we love teaching people and we love sharing our passion that way. So anyway, happy Memorial Day. Thank you so much for everyone who served our country. I appreciate that so much, and I recognize the sacrifice and the families that have to deal with it also. It blows my mind, the selfless people we have in our country. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your holiday, and I will see you all soon. Okay.